Stoltenberg admits NATO won't start World War III for Ukraine. NATO's former Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg told The Times he refused Volodymyr Zelensky's February 2022 plea for a no-fly zone because enforcing it would have required striking Russian and Belarusian air defenses, a step that would have triggered a direct war with NATO.
We all feared for the life of President Zelensky and his family. He called me from a bunker in Kyiv with Russian tanks just up the road. And he said, "I accept you're not sending in NATO ground troops, though I disagree. But please close the airspace. Prevent the Russian planes, drones, and helicopters from flying and attacking us." And he also said that, "I know NATO can do it because you've done it before." NATO closed the airspace over Bosnia-Herzegovina in the 1990s to prevent atrocities. And NATO allies, including the UK, closed the airspace over northern Iraq to protect the Kurds.
Stoltenberg told The Times that shooting down any Russian aircraft would have meant full war between NATO and Moscow, and that both he and then-U.S. President Joe Biden were unwilling to take that risk. The disclosure casts fresh light on a fraught moment in the early days of the invasion. Kyiv's desperate request collided with alliance leaders' overriding aim to prevent a wider, potentially nuclear, confrontation.
And if there is a Russian plane or helicopter in the air, we have to shoot it down, and then we are in full war between NATO and Russia. And we're not willing to do that. As Biden, who was U.S. president at the time, put it, "We will not risk a third world war for Ukraine."
Stoltenberg acknowledged the moral pain of that choice, saying he feared for Zelensky's life during the call from a Kyiv bunker, but argued the alternative, direct NATO engagement, would have escalated into a catastrophic superpower war. He also offered a mea culpa of sorts for the West's pre-2022 posture, suggesting that earlier, stronger support after Crimea in 2014 might have deterred a full-scale invasion, a judgment he now calls too little, too late. Reflecting on broader lessons, Stoltenberg linked the Ukraine crisis to NATO's retreat from Afghanistan, noting that strategic hesitancy and perceived weakness can embolden adversaries and reshape their calculations. Yet, he insisted the alliance struck the only viable balance, arming Ukraine robustly while stopping short of direct intervention, a policy born of the grim calculus of avoiding world war, even as it risks leaving Kyiv to fight at great cost. The episode, Stoltenberg said, underlines an enduring dilemma for Western policymakers: how to maximize support for an embattled partner without crossing the threshold into a wider, uncontrollable conflict.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.